We should be almost... I should probably move this over a little bit. I'm no good at doing live streams. I suck. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Well, you got the NPC icon for this special occasion?
Oh, yeah, I gotta update that. That was from another stream I did with George Alexopoulos. So.
Oh, okay. Were you talking to him about your Indiegogo project too?
No, we haven't gotten to that stage yet. He's really busy with his own Indiegogo right now, which was successfully funded. So, Mary Sue, go check it out. It's in demand.
Oh, yeah. I got me a copy of Mary Sue too.
Yeah. I actually was the first backer on that.
Really? That's cool.
I was, yeah. And, but no, I was like on there talking about like other stuff. So.
Yeah, it looks like we're live. Looks like we're live. So, Question Less, you're working on what could be a YouTube animated series.
Potentially. I mean, that's a little pie in the sky. But,
well,
as you see, 5 days in, we've got 2 backers. Yay!
Woo! I mean, it looks pretty cool. Definitely. You've got a very, very nice artistic style with you.
Style, yes.
Style, yes.
Style. What's
I
your
think so,
style?
anyway.
Yeah, so I've, the reason for that is, like, I've worked in the animation industry for, like, 10 plus years, I guess, now. Or 8 years if you want to be super specific, but more or less 10 because I had a career in the entertainment industry before I came to the US. So yeah, I've got a lot of experience behind me and I know what I'm doing.
That's great. Well, people definitely want to give their money to somebody who actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I would hope so.
So what kind of animated stuff have you worked on while you were, in the industry?
So I've worked on a metric ton of shows. I've done freelance for Steven Universe. I did work on Bee and Puppy Cat. I worked on Nico and the Sword of Light, the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. The, what else? Gravity Falls, Ben 10, Generator X. Yeah, so many. Too many to name.
Have you had a favorite show that you've worked on that you've had the best experience with?
A good experience?
Yeah.
I had a good experience on Bee and Puppy Cat. Ben 10 was very interesting because that was my first job here that I got working in the US. So that was an interesting learning experience. What else? Nico and the Sword of Light. That was a lot of fun to work on as well. Those are the ones off the top of my head. There are probably some more that I just can't remember right now.
The new Ben 10 I always refer to as the Chibi LOL Ben 10.
CalArts Ben 10.
Yeah, right. It seems like every time they reboot something, it's like super childish and silly.
Yeah, they just they shave off the sharp edges and make everything rounded and safe looking. Yeah. But I worked on Ultimate Alien. That was the one that Glenn Murakami was he was the showrunner for that, and Glenn was like the art director for the Batman animated series. You know, the one that is like legendary now that Bruce Timm was like the showrunner on. So
that's cool.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He really knew how to run a tight ship, and the proof is in the pudding. Like Ben 10, like even in where I'm from, Australia, like Ben 10 was like, well, at least that version of the series was very popular overseas in like Europe and Australia and all that.
Mm-hmm. So,
next question.
I guess what you're going for the Question Less project is it's kind of like a D&D adventuring type.
Sort of, yeah. It's I mean, it's kind of got like that fantasy element to it. Um, if you read the description, like I described kind of like my influences behind wanting to do this, like when I was growing up, I had two really nerdy brothers, and they just played Dungeons and Dragons, and they read nothing but Dragonlance books. And I was like really, really young, so they would be talking about this stuff and telling all these insane stories, and my little mind would just be like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" Right?
Right.
And so that kind of like, I guess, laid down the foundation, because obviously as I grew up, when I was young and silly and stupid, and I'm like in grade like 3 or 4, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be a wizard when I grow up and stuff like that. And it was all just really cringe and hilarious, as kids are. But I guess that kind of stayed with me, because I like when I was young, I liked the Arthurian legends of King Arthur and Merlin and all that other stuff. And, yeah, it kind of comes from my childhood, I guess, indoctrination into fantasy. And movies like Legend, starring young Tom Cruise, Krull, the Dark Crystal, which is coincidentally having I guess, you call it a reboot on Netflix? Is that
I guess so.
yeah. But it still looks like the Dark Crystal, but old school Dark Crystal I was like just enchanted by, and Labyrinth as well, which was another Jim Henson production. And yeah, it's kind of like all of these influences and all of these things that I've enjoyed through my time on this earth, kind of like, I guess, kind of distilled down into this kind of like fun little thing of just these bunch of misfits just trying to make their way through the world and follow their dreams and not get killed by monsters while doing it.
Right. Well, D&D is super fun, so I'll be up for anything in that field.
Actually, coincidentally, I've never played a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Shame on you.
I know. Well, the thing was, I'd always watch my brothers play it, and they would always tell me I'm too young to play it, and they were right. I was like super young, and I didn't understand. I would have just made it horrible for them. Huh. But I've always just kind of like seen it from afar, going, that kind of looks like fun, but and occasionally, like once or twice, like in probably the last 2 or 3 years, someone was like, "Oh, we got a D&D group going." I'm like, D&D group? I'm like, "Can I get in on that?" Like, I don't know, man. We're kind of in the middle of a campaign. I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't want to like upset the balance or anything like that."
Right. Oh, it's funny because Adam, his job is doing D&D sessions. He actually gets paid to be the dungeon master for a bunch of groups.
You get paid for that?
Yeah, you can. You gotta run your own business. And one of the things he does is he teaches some kids to play.
Oh.
So that they actually know how and can get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got a basic understanding of it. It's like you've got dice and you roll for stats, and then you kind of like get presented with scenarios, and you kind of roll for whatever stat that you're putting into play and stuff like that. And it's cool. It's kind of like, I mean, obviously I grew up on video game RPGs, so I kind of understand the basic mechanics of it.
Yeah.
But it's like it's the precursor to video game RPGs. It was there before the current wave of RPGs that we have now are now plentiful and out there. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because Adam always complains that like the kids are the worst to deal with during D&D sessions because they're just they try to like break the miniatures and they just won't pay attention half the time. Awful. Yeah. But they do learn how to play. And some of them are more well behaved than others, of course.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can imagine. But yeah. I haven't seen too many fantasy party style animated series that were meant for like all ages.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah. Usually they're always for like adults, or they're like shorts on YouTube where they just, animated an actual scenario that their D&D party went through.
Mm.
So that's one of the reasons I'm interested in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, this is definitely something that I want everyone to enjoy. This is not something that I'm trying to make edgy or adult or anything like that. This is I'm very much trying to make this as wholesome as I can. So that means no blood, no violence, and no swearing and stuff like that. But it's still full of like good story and good action and, you know, lots of drama, and then definitely as much comedy as I can fit into it as is feasible.
You feel like
sacrificing story. Sorry, what?
You feel like you're good at writing like kids comedy? Because I hear that it takes a different type of style to do kids comedy versus
or
more
I guess
adult.
a mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Different type of talent, I should say.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I don't know if I'm good at writing kids comedy. I can only write what I think is sort of a little bit funny and what I think kids will kind of find funny on a base level without having to resort to toilet humor.
Right.
Because kids love that, right? Like, you know, and that's kind of the beauty of kids. Like, you know, like almost everything is funny, and but you know, they still have discerning tastes. Like, if something isn't funny, they'll definitely let you know. So.
Oh yeah, they will let you know.
Yeah, they definitely will. Just be like, this sucks. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go eat worms. So I'm just trying to do something that kids and parents, you know, will enjoy. Just because, I mean, like, I know I'm probably gonna go off on a tangent. You didn't really prompt me for it, but
go for it.
Well, I mean, just kids' entertainment today just doesn't really seem very good. It's like very mean-spirited, and it's not very welcoming, and I actually don't find a lot of it to be very funny.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I think Teen Titans Go is awful, and it's on all the time. So it
well,
drives
actually,
me crazy.
strangely enough, Teen Titans Go is like, that's really popular with kids. So there you go.
Oh, but it kills me on the inside. Fix it.
I think it kills everybody on the inside except kids.
Oh man.
But I mean, that's just testament to just how, I guess, I'm gonna say basic for lack of a better term. Like, kids just want to have fun. You know what I mean? They just want to have a good time. They don't really care about agendas or anything like that. And so I'm sort of trying to do that, and also put in and you know, some teachable moments and some good story moments in there. So, you know, it's kind of a well balanced diet. Like, if Teen Titans Go is like chocolate cake every day, then Quest and Less is going to be like, you know, some M&Ms on the side, but, you know, a little bit of vegetables in there as well, but, you know, a nice hearty steak as well. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's the best analogy I could come up with.
Yeah. Everyone is always, you know, comparing today's cartoons with the, you know, older cartoons, the prime of everything. And it's at some point you can't really compare it. They're just very, very, very different.
Oh yeah. So you mean like old school Looney Tunes and stuff like that?
No, I don't even mean that far back. People will just, you know, compare maybe today's cartoons with some cartoons they were growing up in their childhood, and it won't even be like 10 years back. It'll be, you know?
Yeah. So I'm guessing you mean something like SpongeBob?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
SpongeBob's still going. Feels like that's never ending.
Oh yeah, I mean, SpongeBob still makes a heck ton of money for Nickelodeon. You know, it's like their version of Simpsons. Like, they'll just keep making it until it's run completely into the ground. But that's just the testament of how well Steven Hillenburg set this thing up, and and how it came from such like an authentic place, because, you know, he was a marine biologist at one point in his career, and then he got into animation, and so, you know, that shows in that show. Like, you can tell he's obviously like crazy about marine biology, and people really like pick up on that. But it was SpongeBob that started out guys like Thorpe Van Orman, who later on went on to make Flapjack. But it also sources a lot of, you know, like older shows and popular series that, it's got a long heritage. Like, you could definitely put like something like the classic, the old Looney Tunes shorts, which I'm sure Hillenberg grew up watching when he was younger. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, SpongeBob is definitely a super wacky show that people have loved for years, but I don't think a lot of people watch it anymore, just because of new influences, new directions with jokes, and
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it recently either, but like when I was in my 20s in Australia, I would like watch it regularly just because it was like, I'm like trying to wake up first thing in the morning, and I've got like my bowl of cereal, and I just need something that just is gonna, I don't know, it's gonna pep me up a bit, and it was perfect for that. So yeah.
I guess so. I don't know. What are some of your favorite Nickelodeon shows back when it was actually good?
Oh, dude, I used to be a huge Nickelodeon fanatic. Angry Beavers, SpongeBob. Uh, what else? I used to watch Rugrats a lot just because nothing else was on at the time. What else? There were a bunch.
Yeah, a lot of my favorite shows that were on Nickelodeon would always get canceled, and I would always be super disappointed.
Yeah, well, that's sort of Nickelodeon's notorious for that. Like, they're notorious for treating good shows really badly and bad shows really well.
Mm.
You could just peg that down to just the corporate higher ups who have no taste and just they're just trying to, I guess, aim for short term goals in regards to making money, and usually I guess in their eyes something crude and terrible looking to say the average person like you and me is going to make a lot of cash for some reason. So it is what it is. Like, people want to consume trash sometimes. So.
I guess so. Well, sometimes things live for too long, also. Like,
Oh
Fairly
yeah,
Odd Parents should have ended a long, long time ago. But instead, you had to go forth and just make Cosmo have a baby, and then add a dog, and it got so out of hand. It's like, stop, please stop. I don't, just let it die.
Yeah, let the toss die. Kill it if you have to.
Oh God. One of the things I hate about some of the Cartoon Network reboots is that sometimes they won't even rename it as a reboot. So every single time I search for the original show, that one pops up, and it reminds me, oh God, this took over the new generation.
Yeah, look at how much we've lost. So I'm assuming you're talking about something like, say, Powerpuff Girls.
Yes.
Yeah,
God.
I knew a couple of people who worked on that show. Who I shall not name, but they weren't particularly good at their job, and it really shows in the show. It wasn't just a failure on management's part, but it was a failure on the kinds of people that they hired. So,
ooh, burn.
look, I'm just calling it how it is. Like, I've seen how the machinations work within this industry, so I guess maybe I've got a little more insight than most people, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, there's so much wrong with the new rebooted show.
Oh yeah.
The least you could do was separate it from the original show, because they make it seem like it's just a new season on the original show.
Yeah.
And they don't even bring back like any of the original writers or the creator, who is still working, by the way. It's not like they couldn't have called him up.
Well, I mean, Craig was working he currently is still working at Disney TVA. He's kind of developing a new show because Wander Over Yonder wasn't popular, which is a travesty, I think.
It wasn't popular?
Huh?
It wasn't popular? I thought they just canceled it because they wanted to use it for reruns.
No, well, I mean, I think it only went for 2 seasons, and usually if something gets cancelled after 2 seasons, it means that the ratings just aren't there. And part of that is sort of the transition from cable to streaming, because now Disney's doing Streaming Plus, right? And that's going to be probably released this year, I think. But I think it's also partly because, I mean, I thought Wander Over Yonder looked absolutely beautiful, and when I was working on Gravity Falls, I I would always walk down to the area because they were working just kind of like down the hall from where I was. And I would just walk down there and just kind of like look at all the art that they had like taped up on the walls and like all the style sheets and stuff like that. And I was like, this is beautiful. This is amazing. And it really shows in the show. But I don't think. I mean, even if they could have called Craig, I don't think he could have been able to spread himself that thin between two shows to try and get that. I think it would have been a great idea, and they probably should have like held off and trying to reboot, quote unquote, reboot Powerpuff Girls. It's just one of those things where it's like corporate just is like, well, we've got this IP, we can make money off it. Let's just cash in.
If we can do it, then we should do it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do lots of movie quotes during this interview. Like, it's that classic thing from Jurassic Park. Like, you're so enamored with thinking that you could, you didn't stop to think if you should.
Yeah, right. Oh lordy. And I love Wander Over Yonder too. I have a T-shirt on with the characters.
Yeah. I love Wander.
So it's funny that you brought it up. I think I actually love every single show that Craig McRacken's ever done.
Yeah, I mean, he's from sort of like that old school. I'm saying old school, but that's not accurate. But he's definitely grown up on like say the old Looney Tunes stuff, and he's from the same kind of like class as say Gennady Tartakovsky and others like that. So he's definitely an industry legend. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about before? Shows that we liked.
Shows that we liked, the Indiegogo. I guess we could only talk about that for so long.
Well, we go back and forth. As long as we stay on topic with, like, cartoons.
Of course.
So
what else did you have in your little bucket of questions?
Bucket of questions. Well, I'm not prepared at all.
Oh.
I've had so much stuff going on lately. It's been pretty nuts.
Yeah.
It's actually probably better that we ended up doing the live stream instead, because I was not prepared to do a video this morning.
We should have said something. We could have put it off until tomorrow or something.
It's fine. There's so many different topics I guess I could talk about, but they're all super men.
Supermen? What?
Controversial, I guess.
Well, I can show you some of where I'm at in regards to the short, if you want. We can just touch on that briefly.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So, this is kind of like just the thumb phase that I'm at right now. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Quest and less thumbs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let me just adjust that. I'm just going right now. I've got all the scratch recorded. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but this is sort of just a little sneak peek of kind of like where I'm at right now. So this is the thumb stage. It's just where I'm just doing like a rough first pass of everything just off the script. Just kind of like, I guess, getting down like camera movements and stuff like that. And I'm doing this all in Toon Boom Storyboard Pro. As you can see, it's like super rough. But that's kind of like a thing I could probably. How do I do this? I'll just step through it. So then we got Marigold and Aphid and the dog, and they're all kind of like making breakfast. And then he goes to wake up little Wiz-Liz. He comes in. He's still trying to wake up. So if we just move ahead, this is kind of like a good example of sort of like where I start to sort of like tighten up bits and pieces. This is like a great example. So this is kind of like the layout phase of sort of like the boards. It's kind of like the stage just after you do the storyboards and you're about to ship something off to get animated.
Right. Looks great.
Thanks. And of course, this would probably all be colored up and the backgrounds would be painted. I don't have a version of that yet. But there'd probably be like a reaction shot here of her turning around and him kind of looking at her and stuff like that. So that's sort of where it's at. Ooh, and some blank panels, just because I got to put something in there. It's just a note, something in there. So yeah, so that's sort of the beginning looks at kind of where this is at right now.
Yeah, it's looking like it's coming along nicely.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, you have a very nice art style. Very.
Thank you.
Very not Cal Arts.
Well,
Good
it's
for
funny
you.
should say that because I've kind of looked at a lot of Cal Art shows like Steven Universe, which I probably shouldn't do, but it's kind of like I'm kind of one of those people who kind of like looks at what's out there right now and kind of like I guess kind of amalgamates certain aspects of a style that I like and sort of like cuts the fat. And I see people are commenting on it. The guys got a question, you should give my gal Trisha here a super chat, and then I will answer it for you.
Yeah, I got the live stream up on my phone. That's the only way I can have dual screens.
Oh, okay, all right, nice. But in regards to the actual crowdfund for this. I mean, I'm only asking for about $7,000, and that's just going to cover things like sound and some voice, and other little knickknacks like editing and compositing and just sound mixing and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
Right. And, I would also help with any little things that you might have needed.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously like a little bit of it's not much, but I have tried to budget in a little bit of contingency pool of money in there in case something comes up or someone charges me more than what they originally quoted me or anything like that. I mean, it's not much, but it's enough just to sort of like cover that aspect. And that's kind of why I wanted to sort of do this. Well, no, it's not why I wanted to do this crowdfund. I wanted to do this crowdfund because I've seen a lot of really bad shows that we talked about, and I wanted to make something kind of like as an example of that. Yes, there can be good shows out there if you want them to be. So.
Right. There are passionate people out there who want to make good shows. Just for the record.
Yes, just for the record, there are.
They exist.
I would like to think that I am one of those people. So. If any of your viewers or anybody who sees this thinks the same way, then please feel free to support this crowdfund. I would appreciate it.
Yeah. So, what else should we talk about? You want to talk about the perks?
The perks, sure. I mean,
why not? You guys,
I'm down.
You guys can get some perks if you donate to this project.
Yeah, so perk number 1 is the basic package. Woo, zoom in.
Whoa, man. $10.
It's just a basic package. I understand not a lot of people have a lot of money. Like, obviously, a lot of my audience are younger people who are just starting out. And, but, for $10, you get an 11-minute animated short delivered to your inbox. So that's about the same price that I've seen for when I did my research on other people's crowdfunds. There's not really that much delineation, and it's probably maybe a little bit more expensive than, say, getting something on Amazon, but that's on Amazon, and I'm just doing this independently. So
right.
So my thinking was, everyone's got like at some point has $10 to spare, so I'm trying to raise funds, but you also get something that's really worthwhile in return. So that's kind of that perk there.
So the idea is they get the digital of the 11-minute
digital.
short.
It doesn't. I don't have to like pay extra money to produce like DVD cases or DVDs or anything like that. Right. As fun as that would be, but digital is like pretty good, and the distribution of digital is amazing.
Yeah, super easy. Thanks, guys. And then the next, there's an art book included.
There's a digital art book, yes.
So will that have like concept art or stuff like that?
Yeah, it's got everything. So the boards that I just showed you, it's got that in there. It's gonna have the script. It's gonna have concept art. It's gonna have turnarounds, character designs, prop designs. They're all gonna be high res. It's all gonna be high res background paintings for you as well. And like, say you want to use one for a background on your desktop, you can do that. All kinds of fun little knickknacks, just all the working parts, of what it is going to take to get this thing looking good and being delivered into your inbox.
Right. I'm super down for desktop backgrounds. That sounds awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do my background paintings like pretty high res, so it's definitely an option. Like, you'll have so many just desktop backgrounds to choose from if you think about it.
Yeah. And then the next, you get a full poster.
Yes. This is kind of the limit of my imagination for perks.
Well, posters are cool.
I realize some people want a physical reward, because obviously digital is only so good. So everyone in the chat is having their own conversation. but the doing a poster right now, if it's just me delivering it, then that's it's pretty easy for me to just kind of like get them made and sort of like deliver them myself. And I think it's like an 11 by 17 poster, so it's nothing small fry. It's like definitely legit. I know the image there kind of like is just the same image that I've used in the campaign, but obviously if like we hit the funding goal and maybe even exceed it, then I could probably do different variations of the poster and give those out to everybody as well. So
yeah. I mean, posters are good because, you're getting physical art you can put on your wall.
You can frame it.
Yeah. Advertise it to other people who might come in your room. Oh, posters are a good idea. Is that like, yeah, it's only like $5 more than the other.
Yeah.
So it's like you might as well go for the poster.
And you get the short and you get the behind-the-scenes digital art book as well. So, it's just $5 more and you get a little extra. So.
That sounds like perfect. And then you get a personal custom sketch.
Yes, this is for people who kind of want, some original art as well.
Dude, that's only $47.
Well, all right. What? Are you being sarcastic?
No, I mean, like, that's not a lot for custom sketches.
Well, my thinking was, because I've done commission sketches for people before, back when I had an Indiegogo, Instagram, and they were like, people would be like, hey, do you take commissions? I'm like, sure. They're like, what's your pricing? And I was like, oh, well, it's just, $10 for roughs, $20 for like, say, inks, or with gray tone, or, I think it was like $30 or $40 for like full color or something like that. And so I thought, like if I do it on like a nice little 8x5 piece of paper, with inks and some gray tones or something like that, or maybe someone will want something with like, say, 1 or 2 colors, then, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I can definitely do 50 of those for people if it means that I can raise the funds to get this thing made. So that's just kind of like I call it the extras plus package, because I guess I'm not very imaginative with my naming of these perks. But that's just for someone who really wants something extra special to go along with it.
Yeah, I mean, that is quite extra special. Dang Ferret Art is yelling at you like, yeah, charge more.
Well, look, I have done previous Indiegogos where I have charged more, and people just criticize it and say, I don't want to buy that. I'm like, I don't. So I'm trying to I guess reach that sweet spot of something that's affordable for the average person, but also something where I can raise enough funds to get this thing funded and get it made, but also at the same time try and give you value for money, but also keep it within the realm of reasonableness and not completely destroy my mind and, and burn myself out doing it.
Yeah, right. People usually limit these too.
Yeah, so there is a limit of 50. I mean, if it sells out and people still want more, then I'll probably put another 50 up there. But for now, that's kind of like what I can reasonably do for myself, and I'd be happy to do like 50 of them. So.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
You definitely got them priced for the average person.
I'm trying.
It seems quite easy for people to donate to this thing.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
That's the goal. I mean, I've done as much research as I can looking at other Indiegogos. Like I looked at Long Gone Gulch on Kickstarter, and their pricing isn't that much different from mine. I mean, they have probably a few more things than I do. Like they've got like pins and stuff like that. I guess I didn't have the imagination to think of pins, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, I'm open to more feedback. If someone wants a specific kind of perk, please let me know. But for now, that's kind of like where I kind of started off with.
Right. So now you got the projects all set up. It all looks good, but now you got to worry about the social media managing to get this stuff out there.
Yes.
So, how confident do you feel with your media managing?
Not at all confident.
Not at all confident. Oh boy.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm a boomer in that regard, but I'm on here talking to you now, so.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is like promoting it on Twitter, which is like right now kind of my only platform. I mean, I do have a YouTube, but I rarely upload on that, just because like if I ever do upload on it, it's usually like a live stream, and YouTube really doesn't like it when you live stream very often. So it really kills your algorithm. It prefers it when you put up like 10-minute uploads. So I'm still kind of looking into that, seeing what I can do with it, but for now, it's mainly just coming onto other people's streams like some kind of hawker trying to sell my wares and asking for shekels, but and Twitter.
Right. Well, I'm sure if you wanted to like upload stuff on YouTube, people would probably be down for anything that goes from speed paints to you animating little 5 seconds or.
Yeah, I mean, I have done a speed paint before. I'm trying to do another speed paint now. Making videos like for YouTube is a lot different than say making animation.
I'm sure.
Even though technically it's sort of the same, it's a little different. I kind of don't want to make stuff that is just going to get thrown onto the trash pile of history.
I hope not. I would love to see this thing made, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
It looks very nice.
Thank you.
And I would hope that the the writing is also very nice.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the script's done, so I think it's a pretty good script. I kind of tailored this just because this is my first crowdfinance, my first time doing an 11-minute short independently. Mm-hmm. I kind of tailored the story in such a way where it wasn't too difficult, but it wasn't like there's no like crazy insane action scenes in it, but there is still a solid story. There's still some kind of excitement and drama and stuff like that. So I wasn't trying to I haven't tried to make it too insanely difficult for me to try and make it. I've made it at least reasonable, but good enough where you'll walk away from it thinking, having enjoyed it being a solid story with a good message.
I like good messages. Did you want to link everyone to your YouTube channel? Or?
Oh, it's just Fresher Luke.
Fresher Luke, and you'll find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. I mean, I can put it in the chat if you want.
If you wanted to. Some people find it like easier that way.
Yeah. I'll do that. All right. Anyway. What else else shall we talk about?
Well, you want to talk about your awesome characters?
Oh, sure, yeah, I'll do that. Hold on, let me
I
just...
remember Ishkra seemed pretty excited about the little goblin girl.
Well, she's a little gremlin girl.
Even better.
Yeah, well, I could go through them from left to right if you want.
Sure.
So on the left, we got the Rexton the dog. What is going on? How fresh is Luke? What? I mean, I was fresh, but now I'm old, so I guess I should change that name to stale. But,
Jeez.
I'm just an old man trying to sell his wares. So we got Rexton the dog. He's like the only capable member of the group. He's a dog of mystery. He's got like an eye patch and a little sword on his back. And he's kind of like... I guess he's kind of like the guiding force for the group in a strange way. Just kind of like, I guess how and this is going to tell how old I really am, just how Brain would always have to save Inspector Gadget kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. Or like Courage the Cowardly Dog, or...
Yeah, Courage is a good contemporary point. I mean, he still very much acts like a dog. You know, he likes to chase things and play catch and stuff like that, but he's also an adventurer, and he loves danger and excitement and stuff like that. So he likes to stick around with these guys because they seem to get into the most trouble. So he's like, sweet, I love trouble. But he's ultimately like he's a good boy. So yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. And then we've got Aphid. She's like a little orphan gremlin girl, and she's kind of grown up on the streets of the city her whole life. She's had to learn how to lie and cheat and steal and kind of do like all these grifting things just to survive. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so she's like, because she's a girl, like she gets picked on by a lot of the other orphan gremlins who live on the street as well. And so she kind of, I guess, what's a good way to put it? She kind of like joins the group, partly just for safety in numbers, like, she's not going to get picked on if there's these other bigger kids around her, so to say. But, in being with the group, they kind of directly and indirectly kind of teach her not to be so devious and kind of teach her to be sort of a more constructive and contributing member of society and not steal things and stuff like that. I mean, she still learns to retain some of her craftiness, and that kind of helps them out in some tight situations. But at the same time, the others, and even the dog, they're always kind of like trying to steer her away from like stealing and lying and cheating and stuff like that.
Right.
So she's got this really interesting arc because she's young, and even though she's got street smarts, she's still kind of naive in regards to the way that sort of the world works and how to interact with people and stuff like that. And her whole arc is, and this goes with pretty much all the other characters. They kind of start in this place of like being the worst versions of themselves, and then if this was to get funded and exceed the funding, and we have like a series, then we would kind of delve into the whole idea of like how these characters grow and change and become better people along the way, and how they kind of like influence each other for the better, and they kind of learn from each other, because they all have kind of like, there's that whole thing that Einstein talked about multiple intelligences, right? And so they all have, they're all very specialized in their particular area, but at the same time, they definitely have blind spots in other areas that the other characters kind of like teach them about and sort of like help them to gain different perspectives and stuff like that.
They all complete each other as a party working together.
Well, I mean, I guess that's an optimistic way of putting it. Because they are very much dysfunctional. I mean, you could think of them as a dysfunctional family, even though they're not related. They're kind of like old roommates in a strange way. It's more like, circumstances kind of like put them together, because in a way they're all the outcasts of society in a strange way. Whereas, because I guess the whole setting of the world is, and here we go, world building time. The whole setting of the world is like, it's this fantasy world called Epic Earth, and they live in this city called El Bazaar. And one of the main one of the main ways to make money in this world is through the act of dungeon crawling, and it's kind of like they go to these like hidden caves and dungeons and crypts and stuff like that are all filled with all these treasures and magical items that happened from this great war between the gods like eons ago. And so, all these various parties, dungeon crawling is very much a very regulated activity. You have to have like 4 people in your party, just because, obviously one person going alone, they're going to get killed. So you need other people there to help you out.
Right.
And so, people go into these dungeons and they find these treasures and they bring them back into the city and they sell them, and it kind of stimulates the economy, kind of like drilling for oil, but with drilling for oil has less monsters and deadly traps. so it's kind of like that. And so they kind of like they have their own dreams and ambitions, but they kind of see dungeon crawling as a means to sort of like help them achieve those dreams and ambitions, because there are some people who obviously have done it and they've like struck it big, and they're like rich and famous and they have like huge houses and stuff like that. But then you've got all the others like these guys who are kind of like scrabbling around for the scraps and stuff like that.
Right. Treasure hunters.
In a way, yeah, treasure hunters.
So she's the rogue who must be reformed.
In a way, yeah. I guess that's one way of putting it. The other thing is I've kind of not really given them official titles like rogue and stuff like that. I guess except for Wizard Lizard.
Yeah.
But I mean, part of it is just because their whole thing is like they kind of, I guess, defy or subvert your expectations upon first seeing them. I mean, you see a dog and you don't expect the dog to be like the most capable one of them, right?
I don't know, man. He has a sword.
I know, but it's like, if you think about it I guess in the grander context, you're like, oh, it's when you first see a dog, you're just like, oh, it's just a dog, right? But then you kind of like look close and you're like, wait, this dog has an eye patch and a sword. What's going on?
Yeah, right.
And the same for Aphid. You kind of see it and you're like, oh, it's just some freaking street urchin kid, right? Like, what she can't do anything. Like, she's not worth my attention. And then she's like, unlocked the door and stolen all the goods in your house or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're like, holy crap. And so anyway, I guess I'll move on to the next character.
Sure.
So this is Wizard Lizard. That's Wizard Lizard.
First name Wizard, last name Lizard.
In that order, Wizard Lizard.
Perfect.
So
name.
he's very cerebral. He's from a race of reptilians that hate magic, and so naturally he wants to become the greatest wizard in the world. And he's kind of like the de facto leader of the group, just because he's probably the most intelligent out of all of them, or at least the most systematically intelligent. He's very, because he's a reptile, he kind of has trouble understanding like mammals and kind of like empathizing with mammals and why mammals behave the way they do. So that's kind of his blind spot.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, he's cold-blooded. But because he's so cold-blooded, he's very logical, and he's very like, like, why would you want to have a party? That's ridiculous. Like, it's such a waste of time, and you just engorging yourself on food and not eating rations and stuff like that. And so at the same time, like, kind of like the joke with him is, he's going around, he's got like wizard attire and he knows stuff, but none of the other members of the group have actually seen him do magic. And it's actually a plot idea I have for like a potential future episode. Why are they all going about whether or not I'm fresher than something? Fresher than what? What?
We've started something and now we can't end it.
Will this series be RPG, like, some nods to the RPG tropes and themes? Yeah, there'll be a few little nods here and there, but it's not the main emphasis of it. I'll definitely be making, like, a few little jokes about it here and there, like, in regards to tropes and stuff like that. So, they haven't really seen him do magic, and so, yeah, that's the plot for, like, a future episode where they kind of bring it up. They're like, you're supposed to be a leader and you're supposed to be a wizard, but we've never seen you do magic. And he's like, well, like, I only use it in very dire circumstances. And then, all these situations would arise where they're like, oh, now you can use your magic. And he's like, no, I'm not going to use my magic. And then, and Aphid's like giving him shit about it. And, and everyone else else is just starting to doubt him, like, oh, she's got a point, and he's like, oh, he's trying to tell him that he's not dependent on it and stuff like that. So that's his whole thing, and the other characters kind of teach him in a strange way to sort of like be a little bit more considerate of other people and sort of consider their different perspectives and stuff like that, and sort of like I guess he lacks emotional intelligence, which is kind of his blind spot. So.
Okay. And then we got the last one here.
We got the last one, but I got to answer this question. Does the dog talk? Very important question. No, the dog does not talk.
I didn't imagine that the dog talked.
No, he doesn't. He just barks.
Not a happy character where they're just annoying talking all the time in the background.
Yeah, so, but strangely enough, in regards to the dog talking and not talking, that's where we come to Marigold. Mm-hmm. So Marigold is this, he's supposed to be this barbarian, right? Mm-hmm. But he was raised by unicorns when he was really young. And so he's a complete sissy. He doesn't like violence or anything, even though he's got like Herculean strength. Like he can like lift trucks above his head and stuff like that. He doesn't like to fight at all. Like he hates violence and he hates confrontation. But is he gay? Look, I'm not going to talk about these characters' sexuality. That's not the point of this.
Right.
Like if you want that, you can go watch Steven Universe. And so, he's kind of like the emotional glue that kind of like, I guess, holds the whole team together. Like, he's very motherly, and he kind of, I guess in a way, he kind of acts like Aphid's de facto bigger brother, or bigger sister, however you want to put it. And he's very good. He's got a lot of emotional intelligence. He's very wise when it comes to emotional stuff. He's got a lot of emotional intelligence. But at the same time, because he's grown up amongst, like unicorns and fairies and stuff like that, he's kind of lived a pacifist life. He's only ever been a vegetarian, and because he doesn't like violence, his whole arc is that at some points it's good to not kind of like use violence as a solution to things, but at some point you do have to kind of fight for the things that you care about. And so, in a way, he's kind of got to learn to toughen up and be a man and let the boy inside of him die. That's legit.
No, I know exactly what you mean. That sounds like a really interesting character arc to go through.
Yeah, and the thing is, because he's grown up in like these fantastic woods, and he doesn't know who his actual parents are. And so the other thing is, like, he kind of thinks that he's a horse at first, and so part of his whole arc is kind of accepting the fact that he is indeed human, that he has to live amongst his own kind. Because, at one point the unicorns just get really fed up with him, and they're like, you need to go live with your own people, you idiot, get out of here. Like, they find him really annoying. And just because they're snooty assholes. And so he, his whole thing is just trying to find out who he is, and the other thing is, he's got this Herculean strength. He's been raised in this fantasy thing. And so, Marigold does indeed. He has a destiny. He has a very important destiny. Like all, Herculean heroes do. It's just his whole arc is realizing that, and in a strange way kind of embracing that and learning to sort of like, I guess straddle that line between both being, and tough and strong, but also being, I guess, I'm going to, for lack of a better term, the term's not coming to my mind, but also learning to be sensitive and caring and kind at the same time. So, yeah.
Right, having a balance of both.
Yeah, because right now he's just, well, at least when we meet him, he's just nothing but a pushover.
Yeah, his strength is limited to only like maybe lifting rocks to help somebody or something like that.
Well, no, that's the thing. He's incredibly strong. Like he could, if he wanted to, he could punch anyone through a wall. but he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't think that's the answer. Like he would feel incredibly horrible about doing that because he's, I'm going to be really mean and say he's been pussified.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, but his whole thing is just. Yeah, it's another example of what I meant of like these characters having these blind spots and sort of like learning from each other because Wizard Lizard is like telling him like you really need to pull yourself up right now and stop being so afraid all the time. Otherwise, we're all gonna die, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, there will be instances where like he's the only one who can like sort of like save them from some terrible situation, but it means him having to sort of like, I guess, break out of his comfort zone, so to say.
Right. That is very interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Barbarian, lizard, rogue, fighter? Dog. Person who carries things.
Is a dog a person?
On the inside, maybe? I don't know. Plot twist. Turns into a person.
It is a person. Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh god. You ever watch Gurren Lagann?
Oh yeah.
I think it was the last episode. I like lost my goddamn mind.
Oh, because of the
Because the mole turned into a human.
Yeah, the mole turned.
And I was like, what the fuck? I predicted that, but I was joking.
I mean, it made sense if you think about it, because you had all the Beastmen there, so it makes sense.
Does it though?
It does, because didn't the Spiral King use the spiral energy to create the Beastmen?
Spiral energy.
Right? Am I right?
I have no idea.
Didn't you watch it?
I watched it a really long time ago. And I think their logic behind it was, oh, well, he's been on main character's shoulder for so long that he was consuming spiral energy, like secondhand smoke or something like that.
Yeah, and so he used it and he evolved himself. And I'm actually sad that he reverted back at the end. I would have thought he would have just been, because he'd evolved, so he just was out having a life, and he was helping Simone, or Simon.
Oh yeah, that was his name.
I don't know why they call him Simone.
Simone.
It's Simon, for God's sake, it's Simon.
I think it's just their different way of pronouncing it. They're just I guess it's Simone. They did that same
pronunciation for the dub, so...
Yeah.
Even though it's clearly spelled out as Simon.
Yeah. You want to hear Simon when you see how it's spelled. Or at least have it spelled differently.
Yeah, you ever heard the term Simon Says? God damn it.
But, yeah. So. It looks like you got something good going on here, bud.
Thanks, dog. Thanks for helping me share it to the world.
Yeah, everyone should definitely donate to this. Make this the next Has-Been Hotel.
Oh yeah.
That'd be great.
I mean, I've got a little bit of an update. I've got some animators potentially lined up to help me make this if we hit the goal and exceed it by a little bit. So
that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah. And they actually reached out to me. So they saw it on Twitter. They were Twitter followers. So they reached out to me and said, hey, you going to need some animators? So
fucking perfect.
I know, right?
Yeah. Animators, come out from your rocks. The time is now to take over Indiegogo.
Yeah. It's, come out from your rocks and let me know if you want to work on this.
Yeah, right.
I don't bite, I promise. And all the rumors about me are untrue.
So, what else do you need for this? I guess voice actors?
Yeah, I do need voice actors. I mean, I've got. I'll be upfront right now, as I was with you when we talked offline.
Mm-hmm.
I do have in the budget the current fixed goal. I do have budgeted in one voice actor to help me out with doing this, and that person's going to be. I'm still kind of like trying to get auditions from people, so I'm kind of like tossing it up between either Aphid or Marigold right now. And then I would just kind of do the rest, but I definitely do have one actor budgeted for the prize.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you just gotta figure.
Now I just need to raise that cash, dog.
Yeah, really.
But you are gonna get value for money, guys. I cannot stress that enough. Like, I'm not Zoe Quinn. I'm not gonna raise $80,000 and then run off with it and then claim that it all just turned into vaporware and not deliver. I am actually going to deliver on this if we get funded.
Why does Zoe Quinn always have to have so much shit going on with her that just makes her so unappealing?
Well, I mean, if you look at her Indiegogo, she raised, $85,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
and then she never delivered. Like what looked like a really bad game. I think it was like a Chuck Tingle game.
No,
Like
there was some kind of jokey sexual game.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like, do you know what I could do with $85,000?
Yeah, really.
I could do a hell of a lot with $85,000.
Well,
They
there's
all
no
handed
way.
it to her, and she just like, oh, okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, there's no way she's gonna finish that.
Yeah, and people are rightfully pissed off because they put their trust in her and she did not deliver. But I will not. I'm not someone who betrays that trust. I always hand in my work on time, and I always deliver. So that's absolutely my guarantee if we get this funded.
Well, we can already see that like a lot of it's done. You have the script done. You're starting your thumbnails.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm still kind of thumbing them out right now. Just kind of like the thumbing stage is really the most interesting stage because it's really just where you're kind of doing the base layer of the foundation for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm still sort of thumbing it out, but I'm like nearly done. And then everything after that is just kind of like assembling it and making it all just kind of like smooth it over and making it mesh together before I go into the next stage. But yeah, I'm on track to getting it done. I just need to get this thing funded, and then we're off to the races.
Yeah, sounds like good ideas coming.
Thank you.
So when everything's finished and good to go, are you gonna be putting this on your YouTube channel, or are you gonna make a special YouTube channel for this?
So the plan is we'll get funded. I'll get it produced. I'll get it made, and then 2 weeks before I put it on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be sending it out I'm going to be sending out the digital perks to everyone who participated in this crowdfund.
Mm-hmm.
The physical perks, if we get funded, I will definitely be sending out way ahead of the digital perks, just because physical perks are obviously technically they're already done. If you think about it, it's just a matter of getting them printed out and packaged and sent off. So those will probably get sent out straight away. And strangely enough, I did look at having a T-shirt done, but getting those would cost $10 to make each.
Yeah. So. Pop.
What else should I say?
You were putting it on your. Oh, we got a super chat. No idea what's going on here.
No idea what's going on, but here. What?
Well, thanks.
I think he came in at the last minute.
I guess so. I don't normally get super chats, but I don't normally live stream either. So
I'm hearing another one, though I have no idea what the stream about. Are they joining forces? No, she's helping me promote my Indiegogo Quest and Less.
I want this to be funded. Get on it, guys.
Was I not clear in my communication?
Like I said before, I'm willing to help you wherever you need to.
You've
pull
helped
some
me already.
ends together.
You've put me on this stream. You've been more than generous with your time, and I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
And yeah, it's it is what it is. If you want to see good animation and you want something for your kids to enjoy that you don't have to worry about trying to censor, then this is something that I would recommend that you back.
Yeah, 100%. If you want your kids to watch good shows and not Teen Titans Go all the time, Well, right now they got Steven Universe playing on marathon mode on Cartoon Network.
Oh my god.
So you get a small break from Teen Titans Go to watch a gay rap show.
Alright, we won't crap on other shows. Let's keep it positive.
Yes, focus.
Alright. 63 minutes. That's been an hour.
You want to call it a day?
Do you? It's your stream.
I don't mind either way.
Well, what else would you like to talk about? I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I have no idea. Well, I think I would like to see more animated projects on Indiegogo. And, it's difficult to do, but my love for animation is like burning with passion, and yet there's not as many great animated shows out there that I can recommend to people all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a huge shame. So that is one of the many reasons why I really want your project to get funded, because yours looks really good. You've got a lot of experience, you've got a good art style, and you have the passion there. And that's all you really need, man.
And I know how to do it. I know how to get this thing done. So it just takes a little elbow grease, and that's it.
Yeah, and I've seen like so many comic projects get made like in the first day because they've got it all together, and people, they're sick of reading, you know, bad comics that are always in the stores, so they want to go and see something that an independent creator can do with the passion all behind it.
We got a question. Will, did you get the inspiration for the name? Where? All right, where did you get the inspiration for the name?
No, Question Less.
Question Less. It's just the working title. I actually have another name, sort of like waiting in the wings. The only reason I haven't sort of made that the name of the series is in order for me to trademark that name, I need to have like 2 examples of me using the thing. In theory, I would have to make 2 episodes featuring the name that you aren't seeing, and so that's why I'm using this working title. Kind of like a, what do they call it? Notice of allowance, I think is what they use for the trademark term.
Right.
Questionless is more catchy, but it's a playoff of, so the backstory is actually so the 4 characters, they kind of live above, they live in this apartment above this pawn shop, Pawne, not the other spelling.
Pawn, everyone.
Yeah, pawn shop, as in porn stars. Pawne, you know that show where they kind of bring stuff in and people sell them stuff, right? And so the pawn shop, the pawn shop's name, I really hate using that term. I don't know why I keep using it.
Thrift store.
So the name of the shop is, I think it was either Quest and Loan or Quest and Less. And so that was kind of like the basis of the thing. And Wizard Lizard kind of works there, and that kind of pays for the rent for them living above the thing. And the landlord owns the shop. And the larger scope of that is that when, you know, these parties go out and they do all these dungeon raids and like get all this treasure and magical artifacts, they bring them back to these pawn shops to sell them in order to make money.
Right.
This better not be porn. Yeah, don't worry, it's not porn.
Dear Lord.
I really set myself up for that. I didn't know what else to call it. Like a
kid friendly, guys. Kid friendly. We
kid
swear.
Friendly Christian channel.
Christian channel. Oh. How do you? Oh, well, we're getting a little bit off topic now. Have you heard about that?
What's that?
The Julia Vickerman.
Oh, right. I mean,
I just heard about that yesterday. I'm not even,
that broke. I think that broke yesterday as well. Yeah. Are you sure you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I feel like we're kind of ending it on a positive note. Maybe we could do another stream where we talk about that.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm happy to do another stream. This stream, I kind of just want to keep it positive and keep everyone.
Yeah, guys, look at this positivity. Wizard Lizard screaming as he runs away.
I guess I'm being a little selfish. I want to associate this crowdfund with something that people want to kind of get behind. And if we talk about the Julia Vickerman thing, I kind of feel like that's going to detract from that in a way, and people are going to be like, well, they talked about it during the stream for this thing, so let's not back it.
Hey, man. Fresher Luke is not a pedophile.
I'm definitely not a pedophile. I feel like there are some things in life you should be able to definitely say that you are not. One of them is a murderer, and the other one is a pedophile.
Oh, boy.
So I got that going for me.
There you go.
What else?
All the more reason to do it.
There was a question. I got a question for Luke. How do you judge Oh, all right, never mind.
Yeah, that was the one I read.
When you made a co, what? How do you judge Julie Vickerman when you made a co? What does that even mean?
When you made a co.
Does he mean 4chan?
When you made a comic involving a woman groping a young boy? What?
No. Oh my god, they're talking about Bikini Cowboy.
Oh.
I'll address that.
Bikini Cowboy? I never heard of that one.
It's on Comixology. Read it yourself if you want.
Okay.
It was this 380-page graphic novel that I did like 10 years ago. And I actually, my first crowdfund on Indiegogo was trying to get a reprint of that funded. The alt-right guy who made an SS comic is judging someone. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Look, it wasn't an SS comic. When I did it 10 years ago, it was, I watched Fooly Cooley, right? Mm-hmm. So that was like the inspiration for that book in a strange way. And, they were kind of like, the Japanese have a very different level of, I guess, humor than, say, Westerners. And so I kind of, if you've ever seen Fooly Cooley, there's this thing where Haruko is like, she's like coming on to this young kid, and it kind of plays into this whole idea of like, adulthood and what it means to be an adult and growing up and stuff like that. But, I guess most Americans, I guess they interpret a lot of like Japanese, risque humor as like legit, like, oh my god. But I'm from the Asia Pacific region, so I kind of didn't really see it like that. Like everyone lost their mind when Kill la Kill came out.
Oh my god, yeah.
And,
what's weird is a lot of...
I was working on Gravity Falls at the time, and like all the girls were like, "Oh, that's disgusting," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, they're like these strange. They put on these costumes, and they're like these insane Greek marble statues of gods. They've got all this power, and they just like kick so much ass. They're like, "Oh, their suits are just so skimpy." I'm like, it's not the point.
Dude, do you want to hear the most ironic thing about my introduction to Kill la Kill?
Please do.
It was all women who recommended it to me. Not a single guy recommended that show to me. They were just like, no. And it was all my female friends were like, "Oh, you gotta watch it." I watched like one episode and I was like, not really feeling it, but it's like some people don't really have a problem with that type of stuff,
Dave says, Japan did it, you're not Japanese. No, I'm from the Asia Pacific region, you fool. I'm thinking Dave is one of my detractors. He's trying to call me out on something which isn't there. Dave, I have never creeped on any young underage girls, so, you can take your criticism and you can shove it. There you go.
You don't have to respond to Dave.
No, I don't. But that's my last response to Dave. You can keep yelling into the void, Dave. I'm fine.
Here's an interesting question for you. Who's the better Titan, Raven or Starfire?
Oh, that's a tough one. I like them both.
Yeah. I got figures of them both in the background.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna say, damn, that's a tough choice. Because I like them both for different reasons.
They both have their own individual cults that are going on, actually.
They do. That's a hard one. That's like saying which Ninja Turtle do I like the best. I like each Ninja Turtle individually for different reasons.
Right.
But if I had to choose, I guess Starfire would be best girl.
Yeah, Starfire's cute.
She is cute. Raven's pretty cute as well, in her own way.
I was always a Raven girl. And then, I started, getting back into like Teen Titans stuff more recently, and then I was like, Starfire's pretty cool. Maybe I like her more.
I guess it depends on where you are in life. Usually younger kids who are like going through puberty and they're kind of like a bit gloomy and depressed, like they're going to identify with Raven, and then when you get out of it and you grow up, then Starfire is a lot more appealing to you.
You see, that's fair. Because like every single teenager, they're always going through some phase.
Yeah.
Where they just want edgy stuff.
Yeah. So. It is what it is. That's just life, man. That's hormones.
That's just how we grow.
Yeah.
Oh well.
What else?
Um.
If you guys got a question for me or Trish, then leave a super chat for this fine lady.
Oh.
That goes for you too, Dave.
Dave.
Quote unquote comedy.
Just screaming Dave while shaking your fist in the air.
Have you seen Happy Sugar Life? No, I have not.
Happy
I don't
Sugar
know what that
Life.
is. Maybe that's something new that has gone under my radar.
I've never heard that one.
No. Happy Sugar
Happy
Life.
Sugar
I'll look
Life.
into it.
That sounds like a hyper show.
Yeah, it just sounds like a lot of kaleidoscoping colors and a big seizure waiting to happen.
Happy Sugar Life.
Gonna
Reminds me of
read JoJo away for the anime parts. You need to see it. Yeah, support Trish on Patreon. No, I haven't read JoJo. I haven't seen the anime. I mean, maybe it just means I'm getting old. It hasn't really interested me.
JoJo's fun, man.
Yeah, I've heard like so many. I've seen all the memes that have come out of JoJo. Like that thing is like a meme well.
You know, every time I've like gotten into a fandom, I've always had, pretty rotten experiences with them freaking out over like the most silliest things. I have never gotten that experience from JoJo fans. They have so far been the best fandom that I have ever had an experience with.
Well, that says something about whoever creates the content that fandoms revolve around, I guess. Like, that kind of stuff just trickles downward.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But something about fandoms, like, I don't know, I guess it's the reason why they get into the group and call themselves a fandom, that sometimes they can be a little bit overly protective or weird with other people.
But, I mean, like, even by your own admission, the JoJo fandom is not like that. They're like, from your experience, you would say they're probably like the most welcoming and the less triggered by stuff.
Yeah, they just seem like a fun fandom. They just want to spread memes and be funny. And
well, I mean, I guess that's proof in the pudding. I mean, you're not hearing about the JoJo fandom.
Yeah, no controversies around JoJo fandom.
Right, but then and so I'm like, who created JoJo? Like, I'm not too privy on that.
Some long name that I'm not good at memorizing.
Someone in the chat will probably tell us who it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, that guy, he's just having fun and he just wants to make something to brighten people's day, right? And it's like that. Once again, a movie quote. It's like that saying from The Dark Knight, like
Hirokishi Araki. That's it.
Oh, Hiroki Araki. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like from The Dark Knight. Like, these are the minds that the Joker attracts. You know what I mean? So if you take that into context, you go into say something like Steven Universe, where they drove a poor girl who was just doing fan art to suicide. It's like night and day.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Like JoJo's got like great art and like everyone, like lots of people love it, and it's just pure fun. And then you go to the Steven Universe, which is like preachy, bad-looking shit, and the fandom is just toxic as fuck. So the proof is there. The proof is there.
And here we were saying we were going to talk positive.
I know. All right.
We've done bad. We're sorry, guys.
All right, that's right. We'll do another stream because I'm trying to find a way to get back onto Trish's channel. Where we just bitch and moan and complain about stuff.
Yeah, we'll have a stream titled Bitching and Moaning.
Yeah. But not in a sexual way.
Jeez. Alright, so. Quest
Yes.
Endless.
Quest Endless.
Animated adventure.
11 minutes short. If you want to see good art, back it. There's all these great tiers for you at different budget levels. I've heard people complain about how cartoons are bad. So, if you want to stop complaining and you want to put your money where your mouth is, this is the short for you. I cannot highly recommend it enough, obviously, because I'm biased because I made it.
Hey, what would you say inspired your art style, by the way?
Oh, dude, that's a whole long story.
Oh, is it?
Because look, I'm so experienced, and I'm of such an age now where it's like I've got so many experiences, so many different artists that have influenced me now. It's just this melting pot is just it's something else. Like when I first started out, I read a lot of like European comics and stuff like that, like Asterix and Tintin. And then as I grew up and my tastes evolved, I like started getting into a lot of anime and manga, just because like I was really obsessed with animation when I was younger. And so shows like the original Sailor Moon and Robotech and stuff like that, they were a huge influence. And then like I started getting into, I guess I kind of hip hop between like European and Asian and American artists, because there was a time where I used to read nothing but Savage Dragon by Eric Larson. Okay. And then I kind of grew up and grew out of that phase, and then I started looking into other artists like Will Eisner and European artists like Dennis Godard and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like I'm all over the place. At the same time, like I really loved a lot of Tezuka's stuff. Like Tezuka is like, there's a reason why he's called the Godfather of manga. It's like he started the whole craze in the first place. But it was because of Bambi that he started to draw the big eyes and the kind of like the appealing childlike heads. So
Yeah. I also, they were inspired by the Disney style.
Yeah, but then they like took it and then they kind of ran with it. So
yeah, they adapted it and did their own thing, which is fun.
It is. I mean, sure, yeah.
People should adapt their own.
The Japanese have they've been exchanging stuff like art stuff for decades.
Right.
Like there was the Impressionists, and because they were inspired by the old Japanese lithograph or wood prints, and then the Japanese were inspired by the Impressionists, and it just kind of went back and forth for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I always have a super awkward time trying to like find an art style that I'm comfortable with. So
yeah, I mean it's different. I guess it's different. It's a little bit different for animation, because if you're a character designer, then your art style is going to change a lot, because and I've seen it. Like I've seen the progression of one artist where he drew a particular way, and then he went to work on the show, which means he had to match his style to match the shows. Otherwise, the character designs wouldn't match up with each other. And then once the production would be finished, he would come off that show, and then his art style would be completely changed. Like that was his default now.
Right. Mm.
So, I mean, art style it's kind of like handwriting. Like, do whatever it is that you're comfortable with and that you are happy to look at every day, because you're the one who has to draw it. But at the same time, don't fall into stagnation. Always try and find something that's, I guess, a little bit different than what you're doing out there, and kind of like analyze it and see what you like about it, and then try and incorporate it into your own artwork. That's my advice.
That's good.
Unsolicited advice.
Well, a lot of people are looking for advice, so
yeah.
100%. If you have any, give it.
Of course.
Surrender your advice to me. So,
all right.
What plans you got going forward?
What do you mean in regards to what?
You gonna be like streaming with other people talking about this?
I mean, potentially. None of them have gotten back to me yet. You're the only one.
Well, I'm usually pretty good when it comes to getting back to people.
Thank you.
I try to be anyway.
I mean, you're doing the best you can. That's all anyone could ever ask.
Right. But also, like, I see the animated project on Indiegogo, and I really like the idea and art style. I'm like, oh, this needs to get funded.
But, well, I mean, I reached out to you, didn't I? At one point, did you reach out to me? I can't remember.
I think I retweeted your tweet first, and then you contacted me afterwards.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd seen a lot of your earlier videos, and they were really well done. I was like, hell yeah, let me on there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I do my best.
All right, I guess is that everything?
I guess so.
All right.
Alright, so guys, definitely give this animated campaign a look at when you have the time. Donate if you're interested, because I'd love to see it get made.
Yep.
And I guess any closing remarks you'd like to make?
Thank you for having me on.
No problem.
It's always a pleasure to talk. I love talking to people about my own stuff. I guess I'm selfish that one. Please back this if you want your kids to have something fun and entertaining to watch. Or if you just like to see good animated shows like Trisha, then please give it a back. There's a lot of angry preaching stuff out there, and this show is completely apolitical. So you're gonna be definitely getting your sense of escapism with this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll end it there. Thank you guys for joining in on the live stream. And I guess we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.